So today we have Zach, the miniboris. So their PBs are fairly close. This should be a very interesting race. What do you think, Stud?
Yeah, I think it'll be lots of fun. I'm sorry for those of you that are unable to watch just because Twitch is having its moment, but for those of you who are here, I hope you get to see you're in luck for a wonderful run.
Definitely.
Yeah, the PBs are very close together, so hopefully we're in for a good race.
Yeah, this could definitely go either way, depending on like mentality or even just like small things in movement. Just every little thing could definitely make a difference in who takes the win here, since PBs are within 20 seconds of each other. Starting off here in cap, I'm guessing we're probably gonna see almost the same movement from each racer. There are a few different things that you do see people do in cap sometimes, such as like doing a double instead of a triple there, and then like diving and spin pounding over. But for the most part, they look like they're doing about the same movement right now.
Yeah, it looks pretty similar. Minibor is having a bit of trouble heading up to the hill, but they managed to clutch it out.
Yeah, and it looks like Zach used the first person trick there, so after you pull the lever, if you actually go into first person, it puts you into the cutscene faster because your camera doesn't have to change its angle. So that sort of saves about a second, and with the bonk, Zach is about 3 seconds ahead in cap so far.
I'm glad to see Twitch is working for some people, but it's still not working for me. I still can't load the chat.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, Twitch is being very rude. Oh. Maybe it's gonna start working.
Oh dang, is Miniboris going for left side? Holy crap. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that is a way to get a little bit of time back. Left side is a fairly difficult trick that saves only like around like a second to 2 seconds.
3 seconds if you do it optimally.
It's around like, I think 1.7 if you do it optimally. It doesn't save nearly as much as you'd think, given it's like such a flashy trick. That's how this game usually is. Usually the tricks save very, very little time, even though they could look extremely fast. So it looks like we got a sub 230 cap from Boris. Pretty fast.
231 for Miniboris. And about a 240 for Zach. Heading into Cascade now.
Yeah. Cascade is definitely another kingdom where you won't see many differences, even in just like general movement choices that people take. Just since it's so short, there aren't many options that you can choose to sort of make things different. The early game tends to be a lot more sort of identical in this game because the kingdoms are very short and fairly linear, so there isn't much room for like differences in movement or even routing.
Oh, it looks like Zach is having some technical issues. And we're back.
Both players heading into Dino Skip. This is one of the tricks that pretty much every speedrunner should use.
It looks like neither of them had an issue with it.
Yeah, as you can see, just based off sort of general movement and how they're playing, you can definitely tell that their PBs are very close. since they're sort of moving at an identical pace with similar movement choices and such.
Oh, the screens were swapped.
Oh, the
That was
screens
the-
were swapped.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it looks like Saren got it all figured out.
Yeah. So I guess that was Zach that went for left side then, not Boris, right?
I guess so, yeah.
I'm definitely expecting Sand to be a possible kingdom where a lead takes place, just since it is sort of so long and can be sort of technical in some of its movement.
And also just due to route differences in between the players.
That too.
Definitely expecting to see slight differences there and just gaps in general. A lot of Cap and Cascade is just little movement things. Cascade did have Dino Skip, but both players managed to get that on their first try.
Definitely. Yeah, Sand is probably the one kingdom where you'll see the biggest differences in routing between players because there are just so many choices for moons that are sort of similar in time frame. I'm probably expecting both players to go for like the more updated route where you get Notes Moon last and don't get Sphinx, but we'll see.
We're seeing about a 6-second difference between the runners right now heading into Sand. Zach is still ahead just from that left side movement at the beginning.
Yeah, and a few different things like mistakes during the boss from Boris, it looked like. Because that boss is very, very annoying to get the fast strats on sometimes if you're not like constantly paying attention and timing everything, so. Sand is also a kingdom where a lot of time can sort of be drained from seemingly nowhere just because of how large it is. Lines are especially important when you're rolling long distances. And so you can actually sort of have invisible time loss in a lot of places because you're not taking a direct line and you might be sort of veering to the side a little bit.
Oh, it looks like Zach had a bit of an issue there, missing the bird as well, sadly. So I have to go for a backup. Boris also had a bit of issues with the bird as well, but they managed to actually get it, so.
We may see Hayano bird, but oh, it looks like we are seeing it.
Or some version of it.
Yeah.
It sounds like Twitch is working again? Question mark?
Oh, maybe. Let me check. Yeah, getting Hayano bird is definitely not easy, so it makes sense to go for the backup like that. That's probably what I would have done as well.
Kinda, sorta. Oh, okay. Thank you for the update.
Oh, okay. It's back. Ish.
Sorry for not being able to read chat much. It's kind of hard to do in these from seeing all the different colors everywhere.
Yeah.
The white really likes to blend in with the bright colors. Looks like Zach is also trying to go for Dram, but they mess it up, sadly.
Yeah, Dram is definitely very difficult to time. I've tried sort of learning it a little bit, and Dram strats are very difficult. You have to be very tight with your timing.
Oh, Zach having some troubles getting back up. It almost had it there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, miniboris is taking advantage of this and trying to get ahead. Not waiting for the bullet bill, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that isn't a very large time loss. But it definitely is slightly faster to wait for the bullet bill there instead of just sort of going straight over to the moon.
Yeah, that is true. You do have to be on the higher platform, and it can save about 8 seconds if you do it properly.
Yeah.
And then Dram saves 3 seconds on top of that.
Yeah. We got a little sheep yeeting. That's always a fun part of the luggage moon, is you get to yeet the sheep. So it looks like Boris actually took a little bit of a lead, just because of sort of some small things from Zach that pushed him behind slightly, like having problems getting up the icicle, and even going for Dram was a small time loss as well. Ooh.
Also, thank you for the bits. I didn't see how much they were, but thank you regardless.
I'm gonna pull up Twitch chat on my phone instead of on my computer. Yeah, it looked like Zach as well had some difficulties with the bullet bill, jumping on it on its spawn, which is always fresh since it takes so long for another one to spawn in.
And it looks like both players had absolutely no issues with Jaxie skip.
Yeah, that isn't sort of the most difficult skip, but you can get sort of like an input drop or something and it could just ruin your day. So it's always good to not have problems with something like that.
It looks like Miniboris will be ahead coming out of sand here.
Yeah, probably, I think by around 8 seconds, if I had to guess.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more.
about 10 seconds.
Okay.
We'll see at the globe.
Yeah, like I said, sand is definitely one that could have differences, and we sort of saw that. Zach had a few issues in certain places, which are fairly common to have issues in, like the icicle. Sometimes the geometry is very strange, so it'll just not give you a wall jump and such. So Boris pulled a little bit ahead out of sand.
Yeah, about 12 seconds to be exact. Meanwhile, Zach, now they're both heading into lake.
Both choosing lake first.
I mean, otherwise they won't have enough coins.
Yeah. You usually see in other categories, such as like all moons and darker, you'll see people go wooded first, but in any percent, there's no reason to really do that at all. Ooh. Boris having some difficulties getting to the zipper there. It can be an annoying part of lake for sure.
Oh, poor Boris. Just seeing that again.
Neither player opting for a down throw fish capture, probably because they're both using Pro-Con. Sadly.
Sadly indeed.
We all know Joy-Cons are the superior controller.
Preach. I would ask for some Joy-Con hype in the chat, but Twitch be borkin, so
Yeah.
I would just take your silence as the fact that you love Joy-Cons.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet for sure.
It looks like Zach is heading up to the Rango fight now, having no issues with the fish jump.
Yeah, fish jump can be very annoying, especially at first. Ooh, Boris getting the faster version without the wall jump. The Rango fight should be about the same between both players.
Nurse. That's awesome. Thank you for your generous support.
Yes, Nurse is very, very generous.
But yeah, it looks like neither player had any issues with Rango, which is good.
Yeah, it does look like Zach pulled slightly ahead through Lake, just because of various things like the zipper, because that zipper is honestly obnoxious sometimes. So
And Boris had a bit of issues with that as well, sadly. But it's still pretty close, honestly.
oh yeah, it's definitely by no means called at this point.
That gap is getting smaller and smaller.
Seeing a slight back and forth like that is sort of expected, just because you're obviously not going to play perfectly all the time. So, especially in a race setting, you're going to have a few kingdoms with mistakes, so your opponent will pull ahead a little bit in some kingdoms, make back time in others. But if you can play like cleanly and consistently while you have a lead, that's usually the best way to try and pull ahead and win.
Yeah, exactly right. And that, like I was saying, now there's about a 4-second gap as we head into Wooded.
Yeah. And even sometimes in race settings, it can pay off too to take things a little safer than you might usually, such as grabbing checkpoints and such, because you really never know what could happen and you could be set behind quite a bit.
Zach having a bit of trouble with the first 2 moons there. But
yeah, grabbing that rock can be difficult sometimes.
Luckily, if you hold Y coming out of that roll, you'll actually just pick it up instead of throwing Gappy. But Zach didn't quite have the right angle to do that, so.
Yeah, or it could have been some sort of input issue as well. There are a lot of things that could have occurred to cause that rock to be kicked.
Well, when you kick it, it's just because you accidentally rolled an extra time, so.
Yeah. Those players heading to the I forget what this moon is called.
This is not
around the corner, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh no, that's not around the corner actually. It's I can't remember what it's called because not around the corner is a spiritless moon.
Yeah, I should know this because I run all moons.
Because aren't you learning
tucked
all
away
moon?
in the tunnel? Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Tucked away in the tunnel.
It's hard to remember all the moon names though. Having to memorize 880 names. Plus, Wooded is a kingdom that I don't care for that much because I'm rather awful at it, so I try to pretend it doesn't exist most of the time. Oh, Zach going for the roll cancel. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Coming back to do flooded pipes.
Yeah,
Looks
that
like
roll
those players
cancel,
will be doing the warp route.
that roll cancel there doesn't save that much time, but it is really terrifying because right over that gap is deep woods, and falling into deep woods you cannot warp out, and it's about like a minute and a half time loss depending on how fast you back it up.
Oh, it's easily a minute and a half.
Yeah,
but both players
scary.
are not falling into deep woods, which is good. Miniboris being extra safe and trying to make sure that they come down from the right angle.
Yeah.
Miniboris also not getting the cycle, sadly, but not taking any damage.
I'd say this is probably one of the more difficult sub areas in the game, just because the cycle is so tight. So if you're not careful, you could, or like if you don't get the fast cycle, wait, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, it's very difficult to get the fast cycle. It's just a hard sub area to do quickly, and even then, it's very easy to just take damage and lose quite a bit of time from the fuzzies.
Zach trying to go for Flower Road skip here, but doesn't get it. It makes a smart decision. Instead of going for it again, just taking the Flower Road, because it only saves 3 seconds with the roll cancel, so Very
Yeah.
good choice here by Zach.
That's actually fairly minimal time loss as well, with how quickly he defaulted to the flower road.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's
Miniboris line the triple here.
flower road
Manages
skip
it.
is another example of a trick that looks like it's very fast, but it saves very little time, only about like 2 to 3 seconds, depending on how you do it.
Yeah, remember that 3 seconds is with the roll cancel that Zach was
Mm-hmm.
trying to do. So if you don't get the roll cancel, it's not even close to worth doing it.
And the roll cancel is the most difficult version of it as well. Looks like neither player got speeding up boy. There's actually a manipulation you can do with the uproots, where if you walk it over a slope, such as its starting platform, it'll actually move quite a bit faster. And you can even get it to jump farther as well. So it's a good little tech to have in your back pocket if you need a little bit of extra time save. But it's definitely not the most important thing to focus on.
Well, it looks like they both had a clean spirit.
Yeah, that was good from both players. Wooded is now done though, probably one of the most difficult kingdoms. Normally Wooded, Metro, and Luncheon are like the 3 that are exceedingly difficult to speedrun, just because a lot of technicality and the layouts of the kingdoms are fairly difficult to move around in quickly, so they usually pose the most problems.
Zach is still a bit ahead here with a 21:35 exit. Now we'll see if either of them go for fast hats and how well Cloud goes in general.
Yeah, that could definitely be a big determining factor in taking a lead or not. I'm sort of expecting both players to go for fast hats. Normally, you'll see people starting to go for it around like a 110 or so, but it's
Yeah,
definitely
that
not
is
like a
true.
requirement.
I know some people who had like a 108 and still weren't going for fast hats, so anything is
Yeah.
possible.
Really, fast hats is one of those things where you have to add it in when you're comfortable, and it looks like Zach, yeah, going for fast hats there.
Even the manip too. And they
Yeah.
get it.
The manipulation can be sort of stressful to learn at first if you're used to just the regular fast hats, because the timing to get to Bowser is a little bit tighter. So without the manip, you can sort of get to Bowser really in a much larger time frame.
But the manip does save about 3 seconds over not doing it.
Yeah.
It looks like Zach has no issues at all.
Yeah, that's a pretty clean Cloud. What the manipulation does, though, if you can see, if you were watching, Zach, when he hit Bowser, he was sort of at a bit more of an angle, and so Bowser only had to jump 1 platform, but for Boris, Bowser's jumping 2, so that's sort of what the manipulation does. It gets Bowser to the next cycle faster.
Yeah, it's about 3 to 4 seconds for the manip. And sadly, if you guys were watching, you saw that Boris actually had a bit of issues with the 3rd fast hats phase. So that'll lose a bit more time. Meanwhile, Zach is heading up to Meme Tree now and manages to get it.
It looks like he was trying to go for cap return at first, taking the very, very tight line, but he ended up getting a rainbow spin and missing he ended up missing the leaf and sort of getting a rainbow spin instead of a jump there. Lost is another kingdom that it might not be like extremely technical or like extremely long, but it definitely is scary just because below you is the purple soup of death. So one
Zach
mistake
actually
can
killing
send you to the
Klepto here to
beginning.
make it a bit easier.
Yeah, that's definitely a good choice, especially if you think you might sort of die at any point just as a backup, because if you only scare Klepto and you die, he goes back to his normal state and can steal Cappy back again. But if you kill Klepto here, then if you die, you can just simply walk back in and there's no Klepto.
Miniboris tried to do the roll cancel there, but they accidentally did it a bit too early, so they just dove.
Yeah, that can be a very annoying moon to grab.
Zach taking the death warp here.
Both players going for the stone cage.
Oh, Zach messes up Miniboris messes up the first long jump. Takes a second to realign.
That was smart to realign there. Tried to get out from under the bridge, but was just a little too far from the bridge to get the wall jump, sadly.
Yeah. I think they tried to go for the platform and then realized they wanted to go for the wall jump halfway through and change their mind, but by then it was already too late.
That's sort of what it looked like as well. We are into Night Metro though, very stressful part of the run. A lot of difficult movement and then capped off by a sort of scary boss fight.
Oh, you tried to up throw Mini. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, he did get an MCCT, which I noticed, and I was thinking it might have possibly been motion control misinput, but I guess we got confirmation there.
For those of you asking in chat, this is actually a restream, so this is a pre-recorded race. So while the commentators are live, Sly and I, the race is actually pre-recorded.
Yeah, it looks like Miniboris took a death there, which sends you back to the beginning. A little bit of time lost there. Night Metro is definitely a very stressful part of the run. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong, and any death, if you don't hit like a checkpoint or anything, it sends you straight back to the Odyssey.
Miniboris making a much safer jump back to the walls. You do know the results, but that would spoil the fun of the race.
I actually don't know the results. I didn't look at them because I wanted to see it through the race.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a surprise.
Mecha Wiggler here for that.
He just keeps spoiling the results.
Oh no.
I didn't spoil my results, but one of the other people did.
Yeah, Zach currently in Mecha Wiggler, almost up to the second cycle, which is the big RNG cycle.
Boris heading over to the blind long jump now. That was so scary, holy crap.
That was a little terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. That's a very easy place to get a value dive and just go back to the bottom.
Oh, what is this pattern for poor Zach?
It's not the worst pattern, but
yeah, but it's going over all the bubbles. They managed to clutch out a 2-cycle.
Yeah, that's definitely good. The best patterns, you'll see the Wiggler won't wrap over itself.
Not only that, but it'll also avoid all the bubbles that the fireballs that just shot out at you. Because in this
That
one, the
too.
fireballs were in the way of Zach's peripheral, so they couldn't get too many shots at it. But they managed to clutch out a 2-cycle.
Sometimes you'll see really awful patterns where like the Wiggler's literally walking in circles over itself, over like the bubbles it shoots out, and then you literally just want to like leave. This looks like pretty good Wiggler RNG for Boris here. Wiggler walking in a very straight line. That's actually a little bit of time made up in the fight from Boris because of the good RNG. The friendly pattern there.
Oh, Zach having a bit of trouble with the dram here. You have to make sure that you don't throw Cappy too close to the wire there, because otherwise he'll just capture it instead of staying next to it and homing into it.
Yeah, definitely. It can be hard to set up very quickly as well. It is one of the easier drams.
Has a bit of trouble heading over to bench, friends, but that's okay. Meanwhile, Boris gets the dram.
Yeah, Metro is a pretty difficult kingdom just because it's so crowded. There's a lot that can go wrong throughout.
Boris trying to go for a scoot clip from the other direction, which is possible, but it's also a bit harder because you're just doing the opposite of what you're used to.
Yeah, scoot clip can be a sort of difficult
I've never seen someone go this way before.
Like, yeah, you can do it
they're
from
tilting
like,
the other way.
Angle.
Like, I know you can do it, but
yeah, I usually
I'm not used to seeing them tilt to the right.
There
like
we
usually
go.
to the left.
Yeah, that's normally just because it's a cleaner line. Most people usually like clip from the right side of the cage because you're sort of driving past there anyways.
Oh, Boris actually losing a bit of time to the bench friends just due to where they were on the bench.
That always sucks. That was like barely off of where he needed to be. That's always so frustrating.
Meanwhile, Zach just finishing up musicians now.
I'm guessing both will go for the early musicians route. That's what it looks like, yeah. Ooh, hitting the taxi twice. That's a really annoying way to lose time, because sometimes the taxis just want to be right in your way.
Yeah, you just rolled with it, Boris. That makes sense. Boris having a bit of trouble exiting the second time. Or not the second time, the first time for the musicians.
It looks like
it's kind of hard to spin pound blindly.
Trying to go for the spin pound there.
Oh, Zach actually misses glittering above the pool on the first try, but manages to get it pretty smoothly as a backup.
Yeah, that wasn't the worst time loss imaginable.
They did also get the hint hard, it was just sneaky.
Yeah, they got it before the moon since they just missed it. That's usually the best way to do it as a backup. If you miss the moon, just sort of ground pound into the pool to grab the hint art.
How can you not like dogs? That's just rude. Dogs are the best.
What kind of dogs do you have? You just train them.
Yeah, can confirm.
Just train them not to bark and not to urinate all over your house. I just love animals in general, so.
Zach had a bit of a cleaner day metro there.
Yeah.
Taking quite a lead now. But it's not over yet. Can you teach a dog to play SMO? I mean, nobody's done it yet.
You probably could, but I don't think the dog would play very well.
Dog watches SMO, does that count?
Audio Tech? I mean, true. Audio Tech is a dog that plays SMO. You make a good point there. Zach heading into Snow here. Snow is a short kingdom, but it can be kind of scary sometimes, just because of sort of the rooms inside of Shiveria Town.
Boris just now finishing up day metro. About a minute gap of difference between them now.
It could definitely still be made up if Zach makes sort of a few mistakes in MSSL and even RBM, which is definitely a possibility because sort of once you pass day metro, the game starts to become like slightly more unforgiving as you go.
Can confirm it does become more unforgiving. If you ask any top level runner, they'll say that Luncheon is the hardest, but that's because of Spiritless.
Definitely. Usually top runners say Wooded is a little harder without Spiritless, but that's just because like Nutclip and Wooded being really stupid to move around in, but definitely once you hit Snow, maybe barring Seaside, unless you're trying to get like a 1x Seaside or something crazy like that, the end game is very, very unforgiving because like one mistake and you're taking a death or something, and it can be very, very, very difficult to recover from something like that.
Oh no, Zach actually having a bit of trouble on the jump up to the Dredger Moon. Sadly.
Yeah, that can be an annoying jump. Definitely.
Oh, that's what happened. You went back to Metro, Boris. I was wondering what happened there.
Zach heading into this one of the scarier rooms here in Snow.
Zach not having any issues, it looks like, with Blowy Joey. Oh, that was good. Managed not to die.
Yeah, if your cycle is like a little bit off there, that can happen where when you get there, the Taifu or the Blowy Joey is blowing directly where you're standing, so you might throw Cappy and then Cappy gets blown away as well, and you could get flung into the poison, and it's not a fun time.
Miniboris having a bit of a trouble with that moon there. It's kind of hard to see when you don't know where you're ground pounding.
Yeah. With all this snow in the way.
Miniboris also having a bit of trouble.
Yeah, that spot right there can be very difficult to spin pound on, and sometimes it'll like to give you a side flip instead, so I think that's probably what happened there.
Meanwhile, Zach just finishing up the Goomba room now.
Neither player going for Snowdrum, which is probably a smart choice.
Miniboris having a bit of a scary Goomba room there. Just with those Goomba vectors.
Yeah. If you add those, they save quite a bit of time, but if you do them, you can easily like miss a jump or something and fall into the pit. So it's sort of a scary thing to go for sometimes.
Goomba vectors are insane. I think my favorite strat is the one in sand that all Moons runners do.
Yeah,
Where you just Goomba all the way to love and sand.
Yeah, it's a really fun strategy. The Zumba, it's very difficult to do well and like consistently get the speed, but
So it looks like about a 40-19 exit from snow for Zach.
Yeah, so I think this is about like a minute and 10-second difference about.
Might be a bit more after this. We'll see how much.
Yeah. Zach heading into Seaside, which is probably one of the easier kingdoms, at least at this level. At a higher level, it can definitely be a very stressful kingdom because you have to get like an amazing time. So any like small mistake can really just sort of ruin it. But wow, Zach going for the roll cancel for the rumble move. That's really hard to do. Wow. I did not expect to see that at all.
It's about a minute 15 seconds now for the gap.
Okay.
Minute 15, minute 20, give or take.
I'm still processing what just happened in that rumble room. That strat is so difficult. I tried learning it, just sort of for fun, and like it took me so long to get a good one. Because you have to be able to spin so fast out of the roll cancel. It's actually insane.
Yeah, Seaside is where you see a lot of little differences and just little things like fish lines, making sure you're taking a good fish line, making sure you have a good fish clip. Fish clip is about, excuse me, the place where we'll see if they actually have any luck with it or not.
Zach going a little wide there out of the chest moon. I'm guessing that was probably a little accidental. And missing the moon there. A little bit of difficulties with fish movement.
Boris having a bit of difficulty with the vibration moon there.
Yeah, fish clip is definitely what can make or break Seaside at this level because it's not a very difficult trick, but if you're not careful or if you don't like intimately really understand it, you can definitely end up messing it up a few times, and then you have the out of bounds movement, which is definitely a little scary. Boris actually has quite a bit of time he could make up in the Seaside though. Zach has been taking quite a bit of damage throughout.
Oh, that is not gonna work.
That could work, but it would be really difficult.
No way.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even on the out of bounds yet.
I've gotten away with a lot of shenanigans with fish clip, but sometimes.
Same. But like because of that, I've learned what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So like when you're not even on the edge of the barrier yet, it's hard to actually make it work. But
almost clipping. Oh, ends up clipping back in. Luckily, he clipped in there, so you can get to the Sphinx quickly. But
I've never seen someone clip in there before.
Yeah, that's not a very common place to clip back in, but it definitely can happen. Out of bounds movement is difficult because if you get slightly disoriented at all, it just completely throws everything off.
So Boris has a bit of an opportunity to gain some time here. Fish clip goes well for them.
taking the out of bounds movement a little slower there. That's probably a good choice.
On the edge of clipping an Oli grab. I'm surprised that didn't clip in.
That actually wasn't as close as it may have seemed. You have quite a bit of leeway actually for clipping in or not.
Seeing a 44-31 exit from Zach. And about a 56 exit from miniboris. So about a 25-second difference now.
Yeah, Seaside is a fairly easy kingdom, but it's still not free from possible mistakes, and you can definitely drain a lot of time if you're not careful. As we saw there, Zach taking quite a bit of damage throughout, having a few fish bonks and difficulties with fish clip. All that sort of helped close the gap a little bit more. And heading into luncheon, like, really anything can happen here.
I'm happy to see that even with Twitch working, Chad is still able to come up with beautiful copy pastas.
Definitely, yeah.
Miniboris here is actually high enough that they can just cap bounce out instead of having to backflip. Saves a little bit of time.
Yeah, this is actually fairly close now. If this is a good spirit fight, it'll be pretty tight through luncheon.
Miniboris just showing exactly how close you can get to spirit there.
Yeah, you can get surprisingly close. One time I was like standing so close, like the brim of the hat was touching Mario. I was like,
"Oh yeah, you can be like inside the hitbox there, and it won't register," which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you get a little too close, though, you'll definitely get bonked a little bit by the hat. But you have quite a bit of leeway. And that's actually, it saves a bit of time to stand closer to Spirit as well, because then he's not moving as far before you hit him.
Zach going for an interesting route there, getting up to the top, but manages to make it work.
Yeah, that's actually, that platform there is a tighter line you can take, but I don't know if that ground pound jump was intentional or not. But that was a little
having a bit of trouble there with the roll cancel.
Yeah, that roll cancel can be annoying out of that room.
Bit more time lost for miniboris there, just not quite getting the spin pound.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst though, and recovered from it pretty quickly.
And also accidentally up through there with the triple throw, but still, it's still possible. And it's still early, anything is possible in this race.
Yeah, and there's still Bowser's and Moon. And even maybe Ruined. Ruined won't be as big of a factor for making up time, but it's definitely easy to make a small mistake in Ruined and lose a bit of time.
Hope Zach accidentally getting a spin throw instead of an up throw there.
Yeah, Forks is a very motion control heavy room.
Another up throw. Another wrong throw there, sadly.
Yeah, if you're spamming motion controls a little bit too much, that can definitely happen.
Especially with Procon, it's hard to not instinctively shake the Procon, because when you do, you get a up throw instead.
Yeah.
Again, Joy-Cons heading into Forks now. Yes, Joy-Cons are superior.
A little bit of a cleaner Forks. And going for the fast strats here. Not getting
Zach
the
having a
cap
bit of trouble getting back up on the cliff here. That looked like a fine fork swim from Boris.
Yeah. The only thing I would like say that's super small is didn't hold Cappy out long enough after grabbing the moon to get the cap return jump, but that's like such a small time save that it really doesn't matter.
That'll definitely help to close the gap.
Definitely. Actually fairly close now. Boris coming onto cheese as Zach grabs the moon. We are towards the end of luncheon, but this is where things can get a little spooky.
Boris having a lot of trouble with this cheese moon, sadly.
Yeah, pulling that lever can definitely be a nuisance.
Also, good choice doing a Cappy return jump there. That would have... because you would have taken damage there otherwise and most likely died.
Yeah, that would have been not good. Although a death there isn't the worst, it sends you back to Forks, but even then that's pretty far away.
Oh dang, that was a good recovery for that triple, Zach. Because Zach realized they were a bit too close, so they went at it with a different angle. Oh, that was so close.
My internet's
Boris not have any issues with the triple at all. Beautiful.
Yeah, that triple can definitely be obnoxious. Let's see, not going for the jump off the little ledge, but that's kind of a scary jump, so I don't really blame him.
And Boris taking a bit of a tighter line than Zach did to get up to that final fork.
Yes, this is pretty close now. I think I went from like a minute 15 in snow to I think around 50 seconds or so. Probably a little less than that. I'm sort of bad with like paces sometimes. But it seems pretty close. Exact gameplay versus Dorval. Ruin next. A pretty auto-scrollery kingdom. Pretty resident sleeper.
I know now we're at about a 30-second difference between the runners instead of like a minute like we had before. So
yeah, there was definitely a lot of time made up in Seaside, and I think maybe possibly a little bit in Luncheon as well, despite the cheese being a little obnoxious. Ooh, Zach diving there. That's a very minor time loss. One of the things in Ruined is just like making sure you're not doing those very small things that lose you very slight amount of time, or slight amounts of time, such as diving out of the pylon.
oh, Boris accidentally pressed plus there early, so they accidentally paused instead of skipping the cutscene.
Are the players going to free Captain Toad, or are they going to invalidate their runs? We will see what happens. It's looking like they're going to invalidate their runs, though, sadly.
Anything is still possible. This is only the first. This is only the first round. There are 3.
It would be very unfortunate if we didn't see a Captain Toad rescue, however. Captain Toad stuck there forever, being harassed by the dragon there. Opting for the captors against the wall.
It's interesting to see both players go for a triple jump.
Yeah, there are various ways to get on top of the dragon's head that you'll see. A lot of people opt for like a ground pound jump or a spin pound jump. You do see triples. I've seen backflips, side flips. There are lots of different ways you can get on top of the dragon.
And it looks like Zach chose against freeing Captain Toad, as did Miniboris.
Sadly, poor Captain Toad trapped there forever.
And Zach also had a bit of trouble grabbing the multi-moon there at the end, just due to... Because like the way you're supposed to do that is wait until the camera starts panning down. And I think they just went a bit too late. Actually, early, sorry, better yet.
So, Miniboris actually made up a little bit of time and ruined it, looks like.
Too stressed to save Toad. Fair. I mean, you still have the option of going for the right Brutal in Bowser's, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, everyone knows Harriet first is the way to go.
Harriet first. Oh, wrong.
Tisk tisk. You should know better than this does. Losing 2 minutes in Bowser's Kingdom? Are we gonna see a burb dram?
Potential.
The burb dram.
Nope.
No burb dram. That'll either be replaced by crates or glory hole or some other moon.
Oh, Zach actually didn't make it with that jump.
Yeah.
Taking a death on the way to the ogre story moon.
Like maybe if he was a little bit more to the right, he could have made it, but it was a little far spaced. Miniboris going for burb dram. Zach having some difficulties here. Like we said,
meanwhile, Miniboris getting bird dram here and actually catching up.
Ooh, another death.
Sadly, Zach takes another death.
Yeah. And actually, before Zach took the death there, it was actually a lot closer than it may have seemed, since Boris was already up a moon. Zach would have had to gone out of his way later to grab one. So.
Zach having a lot of trouble with this moon, sadly.
It's probably a bit of frustration, because usually in this game, if you make one mistake, it sort of starts to just compound.
There we go, that was good. It's hard when you're on the moon and you're trying to jump. It's hard to like tell your brain to just press jump and not everything else.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Boris
heading into
taking
Shards.
the lead and heading into Shards.
Shards is probably one of the most difficult sections of the game. Lots of very awkward platforming and like cycles, and there's just a lot of scary things going on in the middle of Shards.
Yeah, Shards can be difficult.
Going for the burb.
Boris on PB pace? I don't actually know right now.
I'll probably wait until the end of Bowser's to say anything.
Yeah, I'll have a better idea once we're in Moon.
Because anything can really happen in the middle of Bowser's, so I usually don't call PB pace or anything until like after mech or into mech sometimes.
It looks like Zach is going to be going for crates. Meanwhile, Boris taking a death, sadly.
Yeah, just slightly too close to the roof there, and then ended up bonking. Still ahead, though. But that was a little bit of unfortunate time loss. Bunny is coming up soon. We get to see whether or not the players will invalidate their runs. Oh, very unfortunate. Boris going for topper
Ooh,
first.
Boris is validating the run after leaving Captain Toad in the dust. Let's see
I
what
think you
Zach
meant
does.
to say invalidating. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to leave. I can't commentate
Ooh,
anymore.
look at that! Look at that! Sly, look! Sly, you're seeing this?
I can't commentate anymore. I'm so sorry.
Look at that! Topper
I'm
first,
so
both
sorry.
them.
Ooh.
2 topper first. I can die happy now.
Unfortunate time loss from both players. Very, very sad. Going for topper first.
Speaking of time loss, though, Zach has actual time loss here, sadly, just due to missing the jump on Topper's hat.
Yeah, that is a very annoying jump to make.
Well, it's always a good rule of thumb that if you mess up the Topper, it's always the last hat.
Yeah, that's usually what it ends up being.
Topper first, gang. Look at that.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I can't support this.
It looks like Boris is having a good Harriet so far.
Yeah. Harriet can definitely go wrong, but Topper is a lot easier to mess up. Ooh, Zach waiting
going
for
for
the
a very
bombs to hit the ground.
Yeah, Zach going for a very safe Harriet.
Yeah, that's a
After
very
how
safe
badly
shot.
that Topper went.
It doesn't actually lose as much time as you would think. And it's definitely a lot safer than having to time it, like hitting it out of the air, because you can, you have a lot larger window to hit the bombs instead of if you jump out of the air to hit them, essentially. Possible PB pace from Boris, if mech goes well.
Boris is saying it's not PB pace, just because of that death.
Yeah. Anything could happen though, like a really good move.
That is true. Like, it's honestly still anyone's race at this rate. They've traded back and forth over and over. And like I said, Zach going for crates now. Having a bit of issues, but manages to clutch it out.
Crates is very difficult.
And Boris is heading up to mech. I'm assuming Boris might be going for birdless.
I would guess.
Thinking about it.
Going up the left side of the map. You don't see that one as often, but it also works. Oh, taking a bonk on that platform there. Yeah. Going up or I guess that would be the right side of the mech, depending on how you're looking at it. But going up that side of the mech can be a little more difficult because you do have to like sort of platform around that little.
Zach not having any issues with the climb. They accidentally grabbed the checkpoint there. You don't actually need that checkpoint. If you mess up mech, it'll just put you back at the roof again still.
Yeah.
I think they just grabbed it because they were low on health.
Ooh, Boris falling off of mech.
Yeah, both having a bit of issues.
Mech is definitely extremely difficult.
Ooh, Zach has a good backup.
Ooh, we might see gory topper here from Zach. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach having a very good birdless so far.
There were some difficulties in the climb, but after he got up, the first 2 bubbles went fine.
Miniboris back up on mech now. Goes for Rango third, good choice.
No, Rango
should be enough height. Ooh, barely, holy crap.
Scary. There wasn't a lot of delaying between each thing in midair, so.
Keyword, sadly. Zach missing the last Rango. Not quick enough on the ground pound.
Did Zach go for target acquired, or?
Kind of, but they didn't get a spin, so that they just tried to ground pound. Oh no.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate situation when you get stuck like that.
Zach tried to bring it back, but sadly didn't have any luck. I'm just finishing up now. Now we're heading into Moon. There's still a bit of leeway here, depending how fast Hats goes for both players.
Definitely.
And also the escape. The escape is scary.
Yeah, Moon is definitely a difficult kingdom because the low gravity really sort of exemplifies mistakes in like lines and just general movement. So if you're not very tight, sort of all of Moon is pretty difficult because you can have a lot of invisible time loss in the beginning, and then you have to make sure the fight goes well with fast hats and everything, and then escape is a whole difficult section at the end.
Looks like an
Not nearly
18
the
exit
hardest.
for miniboris around there. We'll see what it's
Yeah.
looking like for. I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but it looked like 18.
Somewhere around there.
I only need a
Only need a
504.
504 Moon. Yep.
Doable.
Just get literal miles per Moon and you are set. Just one wall jump, dive vault, moon skip, perfect vectors. That weird roll cancel fast hat he does. I don't understand how he does half those things.
Yeah, we're seeing about a 40-minute difference, 40-second difference between them now, not minutes.
That bonk there was really terrifying. Or
Yeah, that
the
bonk
hit
was
from Moon Snake.
that bonk was something else. I caught myself. I changed my answer.
It was like right on the edge. I was like, ooh. Taking a little bit of wide line there for the vector.
Ooh, okay, good. Miniboris knew that wasn't far enough out.
Yeah, you
Saw them
could have
go
made
for
that
a
work, but
second
it would have been sketchy.
He manages to get the jump, the cap jump there. For a second, I thought they weren't going to.
That was a good long jump there.
Up there. Sadly.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, Zach tried to go for a line there, but kind of got messed up.
Yeah.
I'm just going for the long jumps after. Oh no, they are going for another triple. Oh, you can make it. You can make it. Okay, good. That was scary.
The nice thing about Moon is that there's a lot more leeway to fix mistakes. You have a lot more time to react and a lot more gravity to work with.
Yeah.
So if you do make a mistake, it's a lot easier to fix usually.
You didn't. Zach wanted to make sure they got both rocket flowers there. Almost destroyed the run there too, because they almost died again. Miniboris getting both fast hats so far. Seeing how the third one goes though.
Has anyone gone for the spin throw fast hat yet? For the first one?
At the freshman level, I'm not sure, but at the intermediate level, yes.
Okay. I don't remember seeing it ever, so that's why I asked.
There's been a few races today, I'm pretty sure as well, that have done spin throw fast hats. Oh no!
Yeah, getting that first fast hat's difficult. Oh yeah, a little bit of difficulty there.
Miniboris messes up the last phase, and Zach actually messes up the first phase of fast hats. Just didn't get a proper long jump there, sadly.
Yeah, a little bit of difficulty from both players there.
Due to being at 1 health, Miniboris wasn't able to go for the fast hats again on the third phase because you have to damage boost.
Yeah, doing the fast hats without the damage boost is like actually terrifying. I don't know how people do that, but like that's a lot of bravery.
Let's see how Zach does on fast hats. Zach gets the second one. Now we're off to the escape section for miniboris.
Pretty nice Bowser lines. That's something a lot of people don't think about in Escape, is your lines with Bowser there can actually save you like a second or two, depending on how you usually do. Just taking like a little bit tighter line, walking straighter, and sort of along the blocks there.
Yeah.
You can really go quite a bit faster. No 2D skip.
Zach accidentally paused early again.
Yeah. That's definitely something that can happen. Pausing early is very annoying as well.
Boris heading into pillars.
Pillars can definitely be a very obnoxious section of the game. Not turning the camera there, that makes the first pillar a little bit more difficult if you don't sort of turn the camera to line Bowser up with the pillar a little better.
Right, because that just makes it look like a lot of balls are curving.
Yeah, because the aiming for the fireballs is kind of scuffed, because it's not like... There isn't any easy way to aim them. You pretty much just have to realize that the fireballs are lined up with where Bowser is facing. So it's like really
Heading up for a timer now for miniboris. It looks like it's gonna be a 111 1x.
That was a little scary there from Zach, almost falling into the jumped right as the platform dropped.
And it looks like miniboris takes it with a 111 16.
Man.
Congratulations.
Within a minute of PB. GG's.
And Zach just heading up to the pillars room now.
See, that's what
I actually
I meant
don't know if
by
either player is here. If they want to do an interview, they're more than welcome to hop into the voice chat.
Yeah, that's fine if you don't want to, though. You're not obligated to do an interview. Yeah, Zach not changing camera. That's sort of what I was talking about. This section is annoying because it does sort of fight your camera. So you have to always sort of be toying with it to make sure you're lined up with the pillar properly. Camera is one of those things that a lot of people don't think about with how important it truly is. Heading into the pylon now. I think that's like a 12:30.
Yeah, it's about a 12:30. 12:29. GG's to both the runners. That was fun to watch. And it was super close too.
It's 11 p.m. Oh jeez.
A lot of little differences there, here and there.
Definitely.
It was very close in Bowser's. Bowser's is like what made or break, what makes or breaks that run. And
yeah,
with just little things like with Zach having the 2 deaths. And even miniboris's death on the way to the roof moon wasn't enough.
Yeah, I was actually sort of surprised about that, but it looked like miniboris's death, he sort of curved over a little bit too close, instead of just bouncing neutral on the count. But yeah, so I don't know, I don't think we're doing any post-game interviews.
Yeah, that's okay.
It is like almost midnight for miniboris.
And I haven't heard from Zach yet whether or not they're joining, so I think we'll just take that and pass it off to